This video is brought to you by Sporlan, quality, integrity, and tradition. All right, so we've got a service call and the AC is not working. Several of them. So first thing we're gonna do is just come down to the thermostats and ramp them all on. It's cool in the dining room right now, but they're saying during the day it just gets hot. So we're just ramping these things down. So that way they're all gonna be running, and then we can just go up onto the roof and adjust everything accordingly. We'll come down and deal with schedules and stuff later, making sure these are all set up right. But for now, we just need them all running. All right, I am back. So this is the one that we rebuilt the makeup air units at. So the complaint is that the kitchen, but then they said some of the other ACs don't seem to be working as good. And it looks like rolling with the dirty condenser. This location, things get really dirty really fast. So the AC is running though, but yeah, metal mesh filters are plugged. They're actually bad too. Let's open this up. No active error codes, but let's get into the programming or the controller itself. We're gonna go to recall and we're gonna see what kind of errors pop up in the history. 115, I've never heard of that error. That's one of those goofy ones. Unit test switch left in test mode. That's an old error from a long time ago. So it doesn't look like it's had any errors since it was left in test mode. So you hit that once and then you get 82, which is power cycle. 82. Usually 3 or 4 error codes is it. So that's it. So then hold it down and it resets all the error codes. So now there's none. So I don't think that test switch is from anything new because we haven't been here in like a couple months. So flip it back to recall, we're back in normal operation. Both compressors, contactors are pulled in, indoor blower motor. The hot discharge lines. Condenser fan motor is moving some heat, but it's moving a lot of heat for 7:50 in the morning. Definitely gonna be a dirty condenser situation. I'm genuinely curious what the rest of these ACs look like and what these metal mesh filters look like in these makeup air units, because I'm curious how dirty they are. Let's open them up. Not too bad, but definitely dirty. Definitely dirty. I mean, you can see light through them, but they're definitely going to slow down airflow, to say the least. Makeup air units are still running. That's a plus. I think this one's running. Feels like it. I turned on all their exhaust fans too while I was up here. Yep, they're still running. That's good. All right, well, units still look decent inside. From us doing all that work, looks like the insulation's hanging down over there. Cool. All right, well, we'll definitely be cleaning those. With this guy, we're gonna probe up on it and see what we can do. Unit has been running for a good, I don't know, half hour. So they really need to consider replacing this unit. It is beat up. I put my supply air probe in here because someone has the heat exchanger or the gas heat disconnected and there's a limit switch missing from inside. So I just went and put it in there. That way I can get static pressure. So we're all probed up on this guy. Been running for a bit, R22. We really don't have any load right now. That's my outdoor air temperature probe right there. So let's have a look over here. We're not looking bad at all. Not even looking like it's high pressure. So while we do have a dirty condenser, I don't know if that's the issue here. Okay, first stage, 11 degrees subcooling does not seem bad. That's true subcooling. 12 degrees superheat does not seem bad. Looks like a second stage. A little bit higher on the head pressure. I mean, that's not bad at all. I don't know why subcooling is reading as it's low, but it's not. Superheat 11 degrees, subcooling 19. I mean, that's not horrible. Definitely need to check to see if we have any plugged up filter dryers. But temperature split's about 23 degrees, but look at our airflow. We're looking to be low on airflow. Now this is estimated, keep that in mind, okay? Delivered capacity about 70,000 BTUs. It's saying we should be delivering about 81,000 BTUs. I mean, this is interesting. So something that I want to do is I want to come over here. The filters are kind of dirty. They're not plugged, but they're kind of dirty. So I did put a manometer on here so we could get total external static. Total external static isn't horrible, 0.9. So just under an inch of total external static. We have 0.33 supply pressure, and we have negative 0.57 return air pressure. So I'm genuinely curious because these filters do look rather dirty. And there is signs of the filters haven't been changed since April. There is signs of water, condensation, freeze ups, that kind of stuff. So we're going to do a test where we pull the filters out and see what the airflow does when we pull the filters out. So I want to get a baseline reading. I'm going to let it stabilize again, get a baseline reading, and then we'll pull those out and see what it has to say. All right, now it's been running for a few minutes. So before we were 0.34 on supply, that's P1, and before we were negative 0.57 on return side, slowly increasing. So we're right at about an inch of static. So we went up about 1/10 of an inch of airflow increase, basically. So we're right at about 1 inch. So we did increase airflow by pulling these things out. These things are pretty restricted. If we look, I mean, you could barely see light through those. You can see some, but just barely, right? And then, I mean, yeah, those things are bad. So I'm curious, that'll definitely help. Let's go look at our vitals and see how any of that changed over here. I haven't washed anything yet because I want to see the unit as it stands. So, saturation temperature's kind of low on second stage. We're going to give it a little bit to stabilize out, see if anything changes. All right, so still doing low estimated airflow on here, but it's always kind of wonky the way that these work. So next thing we're going to do, this is as the unit stands. I haven't done anything yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to shut the unit down and inspect the blower, see what the belt looks like, see how that goes. We definitely know we need filters. I'm waiting on approval for that. But yeah, let's shut this guy down, inspect this blower, and see what she has to say. We definitely have a loose belt, not horribly loose, but the blower wheel is what I'm more concerned about with. There's big old chunks of junk in there. Come over to this side. Look at this. There's big old chunkers in there. Yeah, that's definitely gonna mess up airflow. So we gotta get this blower wheel cleaned and this belt tightened up and see where that gets us. Okay, now this is gonna be tricky. Get this to come off without dropping everything. There we go. Bam. So we got everything off safely. Now we can just pull this whole blower assembly out. Shouldn't be a problem, actually. Should come right out. There we go. Very carefully. That's down. Heat exchanger's done in this thing. All right, cool. Now we're gonna clean this blower assembly. All right, we're gonna start by just pre-rinsing this whole blower assembly. We're just gonna use water to start with, getting all the big stuff off that we can get off, and then we'll get probably some coil cleaner on there. There is something rattling around in this blower assembly too. I can hear something metal. rattling around. What the heck is that? My gosh, the chunks of stuff that I'm pulling off this thing. That's insane. Yeah, we're gonna be lucky if this blower assembly isn't out of balance permanently because of all the chunks of stuff that are stuck in here. So just trying to clean every vein as best as possible. Get the bulk of the big stuff off, then we'll get some cleaner on it. Break it down even more. We're gonna be using the blue Venom Pack from Refrigeration Technologies or Viper. Watch out with these units because there's weights on these blower wheels, and you want to make sure that these weights don't fall off because from the factory they have to put the weights to balance them out. Yeah, these guys are really going to have to change this AC because this blower wheel does not look good. It looks like it's about to come apart, which is kind of scary for what I'm doing right now because we're going to speed it up. And this thing's going to be like turbo powered now. That might be a problem. It's amazing the stuff that's already coming out of it. Wow, yeah, this thing's bad. It's nuts. The blower wheel's probably never been pulled. On the plus side, they're doing limited routine maintenance now, so that's cool. We did this one probably back in April, so they're due for another cleaning here pretty darn soon. Filters definitely need to be changed. Alright, that's a lot of the big stuff. I'm going to keep going a little bit more. Wow, wow, wow. So much stuff coming out of this thing. Big old chunkers. Alright. We're going to get the coil cleaner on here now, let it sit, break down, and then do its magic. So I got all my stuff already staged over here and ready. So this is the blue Venom Pack. This stuff eats away at metal and it'll etch the aluminum, so be very, very careful. Yeah, so we're just going to spray it on all over the blower wheel. Let it sit in there. Be careful about getting it in the bearings if you can. Be careful. Yeah, I think this guy's gonna have a bad blower assembly. We're definitely gonna have to. There's something clicking around in here. I don't know what it is. When I rotate it, I hear something clicking. All right, so again, just setting this stuff in here, let it sit. You can even take a scrub brush to it if you need to. It's not that bad. It's kind of dirty. All right, and then what I'm gonna do, very carefully, we gotta be careful because we don't want the shaft to go into the roof or anything, you know? So, coat the inside of this housing. Being careful because that is turning on the roof material, so we don't want it to damage anything. Okay, be good for a moment, and then we'll go ahead and rinse this guy. Let's go ahead and flip this guy back over. There we go. So as to not damage the roof. Yeah, there's something clanking around in this thing. I don't know if the wheel's coming apart. I feel like it's in the wheel. I feel like there's something in there. All right, well, I'm gonna start trying to break down some of this stuff. Might have to do another coat so you guys get the point of what I'm doing here. Getting this guy cleaned up. That way she can actually move some air. pretty darn good. Okay, now what we're gonna do, pour this guy out, flip this guy over, if I can carefully, and do it from the underside. Pants are all wet. Letting that guy dry off. Those guys are washed. Need to vacuum this out. It's not horrible. I think my filter's plugged up. It's not horrible up in here, but you still should just vacuum it out because we're gonna disturb stuff when we move it, and you don't want that to fly down into the kitchen onto their food. So we'll get this cleaned up real quick. All right, I vacuumed everything out. Let's see if I can put my big boy panties on and get this up in here by myself. It's not too bad, it's just awkward as well. Okay. I think that's in, let's see. Yep. Appreciate Linux for that. All right, we back in. Now we will, yeah, what is that fucking noise? There is something in this wheel. Yeah, that is not good. There is something metallic in the inner cone of that wheel banging around in there. It's not good, but there's only so much I can do right now. Gotta get them up and running. All right. I just turned it back on. There's definitely something rattled loose in that blower motor. Or blower assembly, I should say. Something's up. Okay, at this point, I just wanted to turn the blower on before they got too going with cooking and stuff, just to make sure everything was, you know, free. We're gonna get this condenser cleaned up real quick now. So I take the corner post and very carefully lift up the top, use the corner post to brace it so it doesn't lean on anything, because this is a double road condenser. It's not horrible, but we're gonna clean it and clean it proper. Like that. Just got to be careful. The older they get, the more scary it gets doing this. But same thing over here. Not hitting any refrigerant lines, just bracing it so that way we can get to everything. We'll clean it all out nice and good now. Proper, all in here. All right, we are all back together. This guy's nice and clean. I did get authorization from the customer to replace the filters, so that's why I didn't bother worrying about him getting wet over here. Just turned all my probes back on, turned the unit on, the blower's running. We're just waiting for first and second stage to kick on, unit to stabilize out, and we'll see how it reacts to the clean blower wheel, clean condenser. And then I guess while I'm stabilizing, I could probably go get filters, possibly. Well, I can tell you, I'm still waiting for it to stabilize out because the condenser's still a little wet. But I can tell you, we significantly improved airflow. Like, significantly. This guy just shut off. Let's see what it says. 1.27. So right at 1.3, essentially. So, by cleaning that blower wheel, we've got 0.40 supply air pressure, inches of water column, and 0.87 for return air, inches of water column. So we are moving some air now for sure. Definitely increase that. We're gonna get some new filters. The unit's doing everything it can, but good gosh, listen to that blower. That is bad. So that's a problem. Like I said, I am gonna strongly suggest that they consider replacing this unit because this thing is just about done. R22, it's beat down. This was originally installed in 2003. It's crazy, crazy. What a mess. Come over here and look at the vitals. Now, Measure Quick's being a little wonky right now, but subcooling 11 degrees on first stage, 12 degrees of superheat. I'm pretty happy with that, but look at my liquid line temperature, 77. Outdoor air is 81. So it's not really possible for the outdoor air to be higher than the liquid line temperature because we don't have any added subcoolers on this unit. It's just because we have a wet condenser. So that's still a little wonky. Second stage is looking pretty decent. 8 degrees superheat is kind of ranging. 17 degrees subcooling. That's a hair on the higher side. Could be because that first stage condenser is still a little wet. But saturation temperature on the low side is a little bit low, but we also don't have a load right now. Well, actually, we kind of do, 77 degree return, so I'd like to see a little bit higher saturation temperature on that low side. It could be an airflow issue. Measure Quick is being messed up on the airflow. Look at 2,000 CFMs, but if you go to first stage, give it a second. Now it's saying 2,200. Yeah, something's off because usually first and second stage are always going to read differently. Temperature split's about 26 degrees. There's not much more that's going to happen with this unit. This is polishing a turd. It is doing everything that it can. We increase the airflow. We might have something going on with the TXV possibly on the first stage, I think, but with that really low saturation temperature, but it could also just be the wet condenser causing everything to be kind of out of whack a little bit too. So this thing's kind of doing everything that it can as it stands. Last thing I'm going to do is take my probes off, and I want to check these liquid line filter dryers in here because right now we're on the outlet of the liquid line filter dryer, so I want to see what it is on the inlet. Currently doing temperature drops across the dryer, so each clamp is on one side of the dryer, 86, 87. So we really don't have a temperature drop across that dryer, so let's do the other one real quick and see. Just checking to make sure these dryers aren't restricting because they always use really small dryers on these things. One-handed is a little bit difficult. All right, there we go. And it doesn't look like there's a temperature drop across those dryers either, 83, 83, so we're doing good. We finally hit the point where our liquid line is warmer than our outdoor air temperature. 84 degrees on second stage, 83 degrees on first stage, and my outdoor air temperature is 83 degrees. So looks like we might still be slightly clearing out the moisture on the first stage, but like I said, this thing's doing everything it can. Temp split's really high right now, but I also moved the temperature probe, and I know this thing has messed up ductwork, as always, right? Airflow though, I don't understand why. Measure Quick's got like a bug in it or something, because it's saying that first stage airflow is higher than second stage, which if you ever use Measure Quick, that doesn't make sense when you're using a multi-stage. So something's out of whack there, but I know that this thing's doing everything that it can. We've increased the airflow. It's looking great. If we look at this right here, Again, 1.27, so we increased it. What were we originally 0.90, I think, or something like that? So we increased it by what, 0.3, 0.30? So yeah, huge improvement by cleaning that blower. So, all right, this thing's gonna get a fighting chance. It's gonna do everything they can. You can see everything that I washed out of it. I'm gonna go ahead and clean up my messes, clean up the hoses and everything, give them the keys, tell them to keep an eye on it. We are definitely gonna get them to replace this unit. The weird sound stopped for the moment, but this unit is just trash. And I'm gonna talk to them about their other units too, because they got quite a few over here that could use a nice, they could use a roof swap, to be honest with you. All new units, get rid of this all this old R22 that's gonna be super expensive when they have to repair it. But that's their decision to make. Like I said too, I'm gonna grab some filters and do that, but all should be well. So we're gonna give them the keys, tell them to keep an eye on it. Never know what you're gonna walk into when you get to these customers. So I do have to say, yeah, the condenser was a little bit dirty. It wasn't horrible, okay? Because they had us do coil cleaning back in May, I think? May or June, somewhere in there. Maybe April, I don't know. It was a while ago. However long ago it was that I rebuilt those Make-A-Bear units is when we did the coil cleaning too, so that was a while ago. But anyways, so it wasn't as bad, but the filters are definitely plugged. Now I did get confirmation and approval to go ahead and replace the filters. For some reason, the maintenance work orders haven't come yet, but corporate said, yeah, go ahead and change the filters if they need to be done. So I'm gonna go get those and then throw them back in. But this unit is doing about everything it can. So we're gonna give them a long laundry list of problems. Again, when the unit itself is from 2003, that's a good life, 21 years? 2003, 22 years, yeah, 22 years old, pretty darn good. Minimal stuff. These are original compressors from 03. I mean, original contactors, original liquid line filter dryers. They've gotten their money's worth out of this unit for sure. So I'm gonna do my best to put it all back together. I still gotta put the small little filler panel on right here for the condenser. But yeah, I'll give the customer all the information, tell them like, hey, it's really time to replace this, see what they want to do. Pretty confident they'll do it. I don't know if they'll do an entire roof sweep and have us change every unit up here, but I'm definitely going to recommend it. You know, when it comes to this stuff, you just got to take it one thing at a time, and you got to think big here, right? Now, this unit probably already has airflow and ductwork issues, so the airflow is never going to be perfect on it, but we definitely want to bring that stuff up. And you know, using the manometer that I used, I'm able to see what changes as I move through the unit. So you can see when I first walked up, we had a really low total external static, but it slowly started increasing as I pulled the filters out, as I cleaned the blower, like everything started making the airflow move even more, right? So that thing is seriously moving some air now. They're gonna have a huge difference as far as airflow in the building. We do have a higher return airflow measurement, the inches of water column measurement. It is rather high. So seems like we have some sort of a restriction on the return air side of the ductwork. So we'll definitely look into that, bring that to the customer's attention too, and maybe investigate that a little bit further. But for now, this unit's doing everything it can. I also rinsed off all their other ACs, the Make-A-Bear units, which fixed the building balance because the balance was a little off. So they're gonna notice a huge difference. Actually kind of a nice day too. It's only supposed to be in the 80s today. It is August 28th. So pretty good one. I really appreciate you guys making it to the end. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel. Great way to help support the channel is just by subscribing to it. But the easiest way to support the channel is just watch the videos from beginning to end. It really is the easiest way. You can also support the channel via PayPal, Patreon, or YouTube channel memberships, which are all different ways that you can make commitments, whether it be one-time or monthly commitments to the channel. There'll be links in the show notes of this video. You can also go to my website, HVACRvideos.com, where we have hats like this one available. Another great way to help support the channel. We try not to step on the prices on the hats too much. I think I make about $5 or $6 right in there. I don't know about with the increased shipping prices. We're probably closer to $5 a hat right now is what I'm making a profit on it. So we try not to make it too crazy. I'm not trying to get rich off of this stuff, right? But obviously if I'm stocking it, paying for it up front, we got to make a little something. So great way to help support the channel, and that's HVACRvideos.com. Last but not least, you see any of the cool job link probes, the SDMN5 manometer, I think is what it is, all that stuff I picked up from TrueTechTools.com. TrueTechTools.com is a online tool website, great company, great people. They're here in the United States. Great customer service, great support. I actually have an affiliate program set up with them. If you use my offer code BIGPICTURE, one word, At checkout, on majority of the items, you'll get a nice discount, and then when you do use that, I get a commission from that. So it's a great way to help support the channel. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you on the next one.